Figure it out.
Hello, this is Adam Koralik with Figure It Out Productions. The following video is part of our Quick Shoot series.
Hey guys, it's Adam here. Sorry about the weird camera angle. Recently I was contacted by a guy named Ivan. He said he had a bunch of old video game stuff he wanted to hook me up with, and as it turns out he lives in Chicago. So I said, alright, why don't we do a meetup? So I'm about to drive out there now and we'll see what he's got. Okay, I've arrived at our meeting place. This is a Disc Replay in Countryside, Illinois. Cool store, I actually come here a lot. It's really got a really good retro games selection if you're in the Chicagoland area. But anyway, so I'm gonna go inside and just wait because I'm a little bit early. I'm supposed to be meeting Ivan here at 1. And here we go, here's the box. Ivan was very prompt, he showed right up. Little camera shy. First thing he says to me is like, wow, you're shorter than I thought you'd be. It's funny, everybody seems to think I'm tall. I'm not that tall, I'm like 5'10", 5'9", something like that. I'm not that tall. But anyway, so I got this box here, so now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go back home and I'm gonna show you what's inside. Now it's here, so let's go ahead and take a look at the inside. I know some of the stuff that's in there, but not everything, so yeah, surprise time. First thing up is, I don't know what the hell this is. Radioshack full color TV scoreboard. Never heard of this. I can only assume that this is a first generation game console, like a Pong clone or something. A console made by Radioshack, and it appears to use, wow. Alright, it appears to use what the AVGN jokingly refers to as the devil's pitchforks. I actually don't even know what this kind of connection is called. This is the video connection, the thing you hook it up to the TV with. It's so old that it makes RF look like next gen, you know, okay? Like, unfortunately I have absolutely no way to hook this up. Basically the way these things work is you have to have like a really old TV, and on the back of the TV would have like two screw points, and you take this and you just kind of match them up there, and then take screws and just kind of, you know, take the screw and match them up with the fork and then press it into the TV with a screwdriver and hold it in place, and that connection would communicate with the television and you'd be able to see what's going on. So I don't own a single TV with that capability because they haven't made a TV like that since sometime in the early 90s. But yeah, that's, wow, that's really cool. Nevertheless, I think only in my life I've ever owned one TV that had that, and it was old. I mean, it's a connection that was long deceased before I was even born. Nevertheless, really cool to have another first-gen console. So let's see what else we got. We got the IntelliVoice, which is an add-on for the Intellivision. It basically added voice capabilities to some games. I don't know a whole lot about that. Looks like we got some games here. We'll just grab a bunch and then we'll go through them. This is what's just laying here on the top. So let's see, they look like they're mostly Atari 2600 games. And what more infamous game for the Atari 2600 than E.T., of course. Haunted House, Pac-Man, the Sears Telegames version. Miss Pac-Man. That's supposed to be a pretty good one, actually, even though Pac-Man was terrible on there. Supposedly Miss Pac-Man was actually pretty good. Donkey Kong. Target Fun. Warlords. Some of these I'm very familiar with and some I'm not. This is one I'm very familiar with, Space Invaders. This game is fucking awesome. Just for the record, Space Invaders is a really fun game. Pole Position. Missile Command. Berserk. And Centipede. Classic stuff. Let's see what we got here. We got an Atari 2600 controller. And we've got, look at this, we got a 6-button Atari 2600 Woody. This is not a heavy sixer, this is a regular sixer. In case you're curious, a heavy sixer is has a thicker edge on it, and they were only made for 1 year. The first year of production they were made in California before they switched the production over to, I believe it was to Taiwan. And they thinned out the cases to save on costs. The heavy sixer is considered more valuable than these are more stock, but nevertheless, quite cool to have that. Because I have a Woody, but it's nice to have another one. It's a nice system. Ooh, look at this. This is an Intellivision. This is the silver version, the Intellivision System 3. So I guess supposedly the Model 3 Intellivision. I'm not super familiar with the history of the Intellivision. I know a little bit about it, but if that name makes any sense, it's the Model 3 Intellivision, which is pretty cool. Looks like we got some more games in here for the the 2600. We got another copy of Pole Position, a copy of Asteroids, another copy of Pac-Man, and something called Bump and Jump. It doesn't have a label, it just has a piece of paper on it that says Bump and Jump. Though, maybe that's the actual stock label. Towards the end, a lot of Atari 2600 games during the crash didn't even come out with like color labels. They just came out with pieces of paper and handwritten and just typed labels. This might actually be the original label for all I know. Let's see what else we got. Oh, we got another game I missed. Another copy of Space Invaders. We got another 2600 controller. We have another 2600 controller. We have the video touchpad for the Atari 2600. I'm sure that was used for some games. Oh, wow. We have a Model 1. At least I assume it's a Model 1 Intellivision. I believe this is the traditional Intellivision, so I can only assume that that's the Model 1 design. Very nice. We have, it looks like we got a Model 2 Intellivision. Look at that. And it's got some extra cables and stuff on it. Some sort of splitter for Atari 2600 controllers, although I think Intellivision actually used the same thing. Yeah, I've actually got an Intellivision too. You guys remember a dude named Noah hooked me up with one, so always good to have a spare. Nice, nice. Let's see, we got dual command, some sort of 2600 controller that I'm not familiar with, although it's a 9-pin controller. A lot of I think like all these consoles actually used it. It's the same port you'd see on like the Sega Genesis or Mega Drive. It's the same 9-pin connection. So this could actually be for either of them. I'm honestly not sure. We got some kind of power supply. I'm sure it's for one of them. We got some bubble wrap. We got another one of those Stranger controllers. Some sort of RF cable. And wow, look at this. This is the last thing. This is a Gemini video game system. This is like a somewhat rare version, at least I'm under the impression it was rare from the only time I've ever heard about it, Atari 2600. It's very stripped down, as you can see, but yeah, it's not like most Atari 2600s, but that's what it plays. The Gemini video game system plays. It's by Coleco. Wow, that's pretty neat. Well, thank you to Ivan for that. He went above and beyond there. That's really, really cool. Like he said it was taking up space in his house, so I'm sure as hell don't mind having this stuff because I love retro video games. So what I'm thinking is, you guys tell me in the comments if you're interested. Obviously, a lot of these things I've never done videos on. I was thinking about doing cleaning and restoring videos, at least on some of them. Would that be interesting to you? Since I've already done a video on cleaning the Atari 2600, I thought I would at least just show you the progress. This is what the console looks like dirty, and hopefully we can get it cleaned up and working. So I got inside this thing and then noticed something immediately. There's no cable hanging off of it. Now, if you know the Atari 2600, there's a cable that is hardwired onto the console that you connect through your RF port on your television, and that's connected directly to the motherboard. That was stripped out of this one. Now, here's a fun fact for you. You can actually just take a composite cable, yes, a composite cable, and you just jack it right there, and then you wire it through the hole, and you're good to go. He also actually included this thing, which is actually just the RF cable for the Gemini thing, and he also included this. This, by the way, I never mentioned this because it just doesn't come up as much, but this little thing right here is essentially a Composite To Rf thing. I forget the name of it. I'll display it on the screen. But this right here is the best way to hook up anything RF related. Okay, absolutely the best, because you bypass that stupid little box, you get a direct connection, you get a better image. But yeah, you can take a composite cable, connect it, like this on one end, and then take the composite part, connect it through this port on here on the inside, and believe it or not, this will work. But yeah, so I thought I would pass that along. Now, I got tons of composite cables around, so I didn't mind sacrificing one. You could actually use the yellow part, the white part, the red part, whatever. I just kind of stripped it away because I got tons of these damn things. So that's, yeah, we're going to go ahead and clean this all up, get that wired up, and hopefully we can get this one working. So no matter what I do, I can't get this thing to run. I have cleaned the living crap out of it. I've opened the metal thing up. I've gotten everything out of there. All the dirt, I've cleaned everything, and there was a lot of dirt that came off this thing in the cartridge slot and in the video connection port there. No matter what I do, I can't get it to work. I know it's not the cables. I got the Atari 2600 Junior here. As you can see, it's playing the game just fine. It's got this power cable and this AV cable or RF cable. I'll take this exact same cable, plug it into the 2600 here, take this exact same video cable, plug it in right there. I'll take pole position out. I'll even put in the same game just for the hell of it. Put in Mario Bros, a game you just saw running. Turn the power on, and all that happens is a black screen. Turn it off, turn it back on.
I don't know. Does anyone have any ideas? I mean, it does here's the only thing I could kind of conclude. You take the game out, you turn it back on. It does exactly the same thing regardless if there's a game in there or not. Sorry about the autofocus. So what that suggests to me is that obviously it's having a problem reading the game. It doesn't even seem to detect that there is one. That would make it assume, I would assume that means it's just dirty inside, but I've cleaned the living shit out of it. So I don't know. If anyone else has any bright ideas, I'd be happy to hear them. But at the very least, I'm still going to clean up the case, and at least we'll get this thing looking nice.
Alright, so we got it back together, and it looks pretty good. It's just a shame that it doesn't work, but, you know, what are you going to do? Usually when I test these things, I wait until they're all put back together, and so I'd be testing it now. But, as you saw, it has that cable that has to come out. It's kind of a unique case, so I had no choice but to test it when it was still apart, and unfortunately can't get it running. I do have an idea, though. I got a friend with better technical skills than me. I'm going to pass it along to him and see if he can get it running. All the games worked, though. I was able to get every single one of them to work, no problem, which is awesome. And I want to say again, thank you to Ivan for this. That was really cool of him to give me this stuff, but he didn't have to do that. Nobody ever has to do anything like that, and I know you guys are even sick of hearing me say it, but it's the truth. No one has to donate stuff or give me stuff or anything like that. It is appreciated, but it's not necessary. So regardless, thank you again to Ivan, and thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all later.